Aloe cannot return. I have heard that my wife's junior is on the brink of death. His sole wish is to hold a wedding with my wife, Zaiyin. The moment she agreed, I informed the system, help me escape from this world. Zaiyin has urged me to divorce her twice. Yet I have failed to make it to the Civil Affairs Bureau, as promised. The IT was only when I lay on the operating table as a terminal patient that she, the lead surgeon, gasped in horror and despair. How could it be you? What shattered her even more was the knowledge that I would, as per the system's design, perish under her hands, leaving her eternally burdened with guilt. 1. Zaiyin is a surgeon, renowned in the hospital as a golden hand. She is exceedingly busy. So busy, in fact, that she only communicated my divorce through WeChat. Please find the time to finalize the divorce. Zaiyin emotional instability cannot wait. I gaze at a table full of cold dishes, the edges of the cream cake melting away. Much like our relationship, which had transitioned from school uniforms to wedding attire over a decade, now crumbling in an instant that I made several phone calls, and it was on the fourth that I finally connected. Her voice was subdued. Is there something? I was busy earlier. Instinctively, I wanted to apologize, assuming she was in surgery. Doctors always bear responsibility for their patients. However, a male voice chuckled lightly in the background. The clothes are off. Hurry over. Blood surged to my head. Zaiyin, we are still married, you know? She explained nonchalantly. You've misunderstood. I was washing Zaiyin dog. I closed my eyes, my nails digging into my flesh. Zaiyin, if we divorce, I will disappear. This was the original setting of the system, unchangeable by anyone. She remained silent, and I could hear footsteps on the other end. Presumably, she had moved to a different location to take the call. In a lowered voice, she said, Liang Luo, I have explained many times it is merely a formality. Once we satisfy him, we will remarry. Why do you always use my disappearance to pressure me? When she calls me by my full name, it signifies her anger. Seeing my silence, Zaiyin's breathing grew heavier. She had mentioned before that my silence frustrated her the most. Liang Luo, be rational that I scoffed. You, at Zhao Peiyin's home at night, discussing rationality with me. Don't you find it amusing? After all, legally, she remains my wife. A long sigh emerged from her side. Then, with a detached tone, each word pierced my heart. Liang Luo, finalize the divorce by Friday morning. Point 2. I scooped a mouthful of cream, a bitter taste blossoming on my tongue. It is rather amusing that she remembers to wash Zhao Peiyin's dog, but forgets that today is my birthday. Perhaps her heart is no longer in this, and thus her memory has followed suit. System, can you sing a birthday song? I cannot, I only know funeral songs. I chuckled softly, then no need save it for when I die. Help me escape from this world. Once I leave here, I can return to my original world, that I in that world, though I lack a healthy body, I have a loving family and friends. I fondly recall the rice rolls from downstairs and the beef soup from the old street market. Of course, I also miss my father's warm clay pot porridge. Here, I only have the meals I prepare for Zaiyin. Because she is a doctor, her hands are vital to her patients. Yet, when I glimpsed Zhao Peiyin's social media posts, my defenses crumbled instantly. Her finely sculpted hands, once well protected by mine, were now gently peeling crayfish for him. The caption read, only the golden hand has peeled shrimp for me. It made my previous contributions seem like a farce. Host, will you not make one last effort? No, my heart has turned to stone. From a moment she decided on divorce, the mission was doomed to failure. It is merely a matter of, when I will die, why not seek liberation sooner? The system sighed softly. Choosing to leave will bring some pain. The good news is, you can select your method of demise. I pondered seriously for a moment, then smiled faintly. Zaiyin has never believed I would disappear. Then let it be that I die at the hands of this golden surgeon, that I imagine her expression at that moment will be quite remarkable. The return of a Luo is unattainable. I have heard that my wife's junior is nearing death. His only wish is to hold a wedding with my wife, Zaiyin. At the moment she consented, I informed the system, please help me depart from this world. Zaiyin has urged me to divorce her twice. Yet I failed to arrive at the Civil Affairs Bureau as promised. IT was only when I lay on the operating table as a terminal patient that she, the lead surgeon, gasped in horror and despair. How could it be you? What further shattered her was the knowledge that, according to the system's design, I would perish at her hands, leaving her burdened with eternal guilt. 1. Zaiyin is a surgeon, renowned in the hospital as a golden hand. She is perpetually busy. So busy that she merely notified me of the divorce via WeChat. Please find time to finalize the divorce. Zaiyin is emotionally unstable, he cannot wait. I gazed at the table laden with cold dishes, the edges of the cream cake beginning to melt. Much like our relationship, which had collapsed within moments after a decade, from school uniforms to wedding attire, that I dialed several times, and it was only on the fourth attempt that she answered. Her voice was indifferent. "What is it?" "I was busy earlier." I instinctively sought to apologize, assuming she was in surgery. Doctors, after all, bear responsibility for their patients. However, a male voice chuckled lightly in the background. "The clothes are off, you should come quickly." Blood surged to my head. "Zaiyin, we are not divorced yet." She calmly explained, "You misunderstood, I was bathing Ain's dog." I closed my eyes, my nails digging into my flesh. "Zaiyin, if we divorce, I will vanish." This is the system's original setting, immutable by anyone. She remained silent. I could hear her moving about. She must have changed locations to take the call. Lowering her voice, she said, "Liang Luo, I have explained numerous times it is merely a ceremony. After satisfying him, we will remarry. Why do you always threaten to disappear?" When she uses my full name, it signifies her irritation. Seeing my silence, Zaijian's breathing grew heavier. She had previously stated that my silence was what she found most vexing. "Liang Luo, be rational." I scoffed. "You are at Zhao Peiyin's home at night, discussing rationality. Do you not find that amusing? After all, legally, she is still my wife." A long sigh emanated from her end. Then, with a detached tone, she pierced my heart with each word. "Liang Luo, finalize the divorce by Friday morning." 2. I scooped a mouthful of cream, a bitter taste blossoming on my tongue. It is quite ironic that she remembers to bathe Zhao Peiyin's dog, but forgets that today is my birthday. Perhaps her heart is no longer in it, leading her memories to follow suit. "System, can you sing a birthday song?" "I cannot. I only know funeral songs." That I chuckled softly. "Then it is unnecessary. Save it for when I die. Please help me depart from this world. Once I leave here, I can return to my original world. In that world, although I lack a healthy body, I am surrounded by loving family and friends. I find myself reminiscing about the rice rolls downstairs and the beef soup at the old street market. Of course, I also miss the warm clay pot porridge my father used to make. Here, I only prepare meals for Zaiyin. Because she is a doctor, her hands are vital for her patients. But when I saw Zhao Peiyin's moments on social media, I was instantly devastated. Her elegantly proportioned hands, once well protected by mine, were gently peeling shrimp for him. The caption read, "Only this golden hand has peeled shrimp for me." It rendered my previous sacrifices a mere joke. "Host, will you not make one last effort?" No, my heart had turned to stone. From the moment she decided on the divorce, the mission was doomed to failure. It is merely a matter of sooner or later. Why not seek liberation sooner? The system sighed softly. "Autonomous departure will entail some pain. The good news is, you can choose your method of demise." I pondered for a moment. A faint smile emerged. Zaiyin has never believed I would disappear. Then let me die at the hands of this golden surgeon. I suspect her expression at that moment would be quite remarkable. On Friday, I was unable to fulfill my promise to visit the Civil Affairs Bureau for the divorce. Once the process was initiated, my body quickly began to exhibit signs of decline, my immunity plummeting. I developed a fever, and my lips became chapped and rough. Instinctively, I cried out, "Jean, water." In the past, as long as she was home, I could always enjoy water at a pleasant temperature. I cherished and had grown accustomed to her accommodating my whims in the little things. Yet upon opening my eyes, the stark realization struck me that she had long since moved out, following the day she agreed to marry Zhao Peiyin. He is the son of my teacher. Out of respect for my mentor, I must look after him. He's on the brink of death. It's merely a wedding ceremony. Be magnanimous. That day, I stared at her in a daze. If it's just a ceremony, why must we obtain a divorce certificate? Her gaze fell, her fair and beautiful face tinged with frost. "We cannot allow him to be a third party, can we?" Indeed, from a legal standpoint, we were not divorced. Was he not, then, a third party? It became evident that she was committed to performing the entire charade. I gazed at her with indifference. "Zaiyin, if you divorce me, I will never reconcile with you." She paused for a moment, dropping the suitcase she held, and grasped my arm tightly. "What did you say? If you are not with me, who will you be with? You once said that in this world, you are an orphan. Apart from me, you have no family." Perhaps her grip pained me, but it also pierced my heart. I patiently pushed her away. "Let go. You were the one who cast me aside first." Yet, she disregarded my words and threw herself into my embrace. As memories of our 10 years together flooded my mind, I could not help but feel tears welling in my eyes. "Aloe, do not be distressed. Your pain is my pain. How could I ever abandon you?" She awkwardly comforted me, kissing her way from my lips to my throat. She claimed to be an orphan, stating that her teacher had cared for her greatly since childhood. She insisted that Zhao Peiyin was merely a brother. I believed her. After all, he was afflicted with a rare terminal illness. Was he not? The system indicated that if we restored our marital relationship within 3 months, the task would not be deemed a failure. However, a week later, as I brought her nourishing soup to the hospital, I passed by an open-air parking lot. Zhao Peiyin sat in the driver's seat, the windows fully down. She stood outside, hands tucked into the pockets of her white coat, a picture of grace. In the next moment, she leaned down to kiss the brother she had spoken of. I felt as though a bucket of cold water had been poured over me. I numbly watched her extend her slender, fair fingers, playfully tousling his hair. Behave. Go home and rest. He seemed to mumble something before donning sunglasses and driving away. How hauntingly familiar this was. She had once done the same for me. She was eager to fulfill his desire for marriage, and in that instant, a chilling realization washed over me. Was it merely sympathy and obligation? Perhaps her heart had already drifted away. Without breaching our vows of love, she had rationally strayed to another man. No wonder she was so anxious to divorce and obtain a certificate with him. That day, I discarded the nourishing soup into the trash bin, along with the heart that had once loved her unreservedly. Amidst the haze of fever, my phone incessantly rang. Struggling to grasp the device, I finally connected the call, only to be met with Zaiyin mildly irate voice. Do you possess any sense of time? I have been waiting for you for half an hour. Oh, in my delirium, I had completely forgotten about today's divorce proceedings. Weakly, I replied, I have a fever. Might we postpone? My entire body felt drained, incapable of even rising, let alone attending the meeting. On the other end of the line, she chuckled softly. Have you forgotten that I am a doctor? With your robust physique, how could you possibly have a fever? You are 28, not some young boy like Zaiyin. Cease this childish behavior. I couldn't help but find her amusingly infuriating. You may not realize that the young boy you speak of is merely 2 years my junior. Once, she had called me a young boy with such endearment. Perhaps she has grown weary of it now. It matters not. I have relinquished all expectations of her. For the second time, I failed to appear for my divorce. On my way out, an unexpected incident occurred. At the intersection, a 2-year-old girl, clad in a Muppet-themed dress, dashed out with her little legs in search of her father. A speeding car, careening around the corner, lost control. Without a moment's hesitation, I forcefully pushed her to safety. With a resounding crash, I felt as if I would shatter into pieces. The reckless driver didn't pause for a second, accelerating away. I turned a glance back, the license plate strikingly familiar. In a flash, I recalled the parking lot of the hospital, Zhao Peiyin's vehicle. It was indeed him. The girl was scooped up by her frantic family, who were utterly terrified. Her cries piercing the air. Uncle is hurt. I felt nothing but pain, a torment that seemed to shatter my very insides. Yet there was no expected blood. System. Amitudi? I lamented. Though not following the planned course, I felt a twinge of regret. Yet, having saved a precious child at the last moment, I felt a sense of fulfillment in death. The system hesitated for a few seconds before responding with calm composure. Congratulations, host. You shall not perish before the designated date. The symptoms of the accident will only fully manifest on the day you depart. The system added shyly, this is the benefit I have procured for you. I found the system unexpectedly endearing. I chuckled softly. Very well, when the time comes, I shall let Zaiyin witness what her new husband has wrought upon me. The girl's father and grandmother surrounded me, the former with red-rimmed eyes proclaiming, You saved our baby, which means you saved our entire family. They nearly knelt before me in gratitude. I repeatedly insisted I was fine, yet they fervently insisted on ushering me into their car, driving me to the hospital. How could you be fine? The car's bumper is dented in. Surely, a human cannot be more resilient than a car? Reluctantly, I informed Zaiyin in advance. I was in an accident. Let us reschedule. Little did I anticipate that the hospital to which they brought me was the very one owned by Zaiyin. Let me see the report, came the familiar voice from above. Zaiyin entered like a gust of wind, a light sheen of sweat on her forehead, as if she had just rushed back from outside. The attending physician patted her shoulder reassuringly. Dr. Su, do not worry. Everything is fine. Before the predetermined date of demise set by the system, no instrument could detect any ailments within my body. Zaiyin meticulously perused each paper report. When she lifted her gaze, her eyes gleamed with an unfamiliar sharpness. Neither external nor internal injuries. What kind of accident is this? Aluo, what is the meaning of your repeated absences? I folded my hands. It was an accident, indeed, caused by your new husband who fled the scene. Without a moment's hesitation, she frowned and countered, Impossible. Zaiyin is honest. He would never do such a thing. Are you implying that I am dishonest? That I would fabricate a lie? The gravity of my words left us both momentarily speechless. A flicker of unease crossed her eyes, for she realized that she trusted Zhao Peiyin more than she trusted me. I questioned the system in my mind. Will he be apprehended? The system assured me decisively, yes, this world still abides by the rule of law. Oh, then I could rest easy. Let her naivety be subjected to judicial scrutiny. Were it not for the system safeguarding my life, that immense impact would surely have claimed my existence long ago. She is nothing but a hit-and-run offender. I raised my hand to check the time. Zaiyin, let us proceed to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Otherwise, I shall run out of time. She tucked her hands into her pockets, her tone indifferent. What do you mean? Out of time? I am nearing death. 3 days from now at 4 in the afternoon. I had once inquired of the system, is there any significance to this time? 10 years ago, at 4 in the afternoon, was when you first met. Oh, a beginning and an end. Zaiyin cast a dispassionate glance out the window, her voice tinged with impatience. Aluo, perhaps you should visit a psychologist. I couldn't help but laugh in exasperation. Zaiyin, it is you who is unwell, always wanting more. As I turned to leave, she grasped my wrist. Have you not been eating well? You've lost weight. That is none of your concern. Eat first, Aluo. Just as I was about to refuse, her phone vibrated. The screen displayed Zhao Peiyin's name. Zaiyin instinctively released my hand. He lamented on the other end, claiming to have had a nightmare and feeling frightened. Zaiyin softly reassured him, glanced at me, and replied, yes, I will return shortly. As she ended the call, a flicker of doubt crossed her expression. Aluo, you should go eat first. I scoffed inwardly. Was it truly a nightmare? Perhaps it stemmed from his guilt over the accident. How splendid. Zaiyin, having chosen him once more, would miss our final meal together. Would she regret this choice when she reflected upon it later? 7. The final countdown of life. I lay upon the cold operating table, waves of pain slicing through my insides like a tempest. It matters not, endure it. Soon, I shall return to savor the congee my father prepares. The echo of Zaiyin's furious voice lingered in my ears. Liang Luo, do you truly believe I lack temper? Zaiyin is on the brink of death. Could you not be a little magnanimous? This was all due to my third instance of absence. But I have already informed her. I am out of time, on the brink of death. It is merely her disbelief. 10 minutes later, Zaiyin, clad in surgical attire, entered the operating room with a stoic expression. This was not originally her surgery. However, the system had predetermined that regardless of who performed it, it would ultimately fall to her. System, what is my terminal illness? Tumor surgery, Zaiyin's signature expertise. The system's tone seemed to betray an air of schadenfreude. The anesthetic had already been administered. Zaiyin prepared herself. Unable to contain her concern, her assistant quietly inquired, Dr. Su, are you all right? The assistant was privy to my information and had privately admired her. Indeed, Dr. Su possesses formidable resilience. Those who can perform surgery on their husbands are truly formidable. Yet Zaiyin herself remained oblivious to the circumstances for the time being. Lying beneath the surgical drapes was her husband, whom she had scolded in anger just over an hour prior. She accepted the scalpel handed to her by the assistant, deftly making a 16-centimeter incision upon my abdomen. This tumor surgery, in comparison to the operation she had previously conducted, was not particularly unusual. Even in the event of failure, it would still fall within the realm of reason. After all, the complexity of the procedure rendered its success rate exceedingly low. Yet, owing to her years of professional experience, the surgery remained within her control. However, the word accident is the most unpredictable element for humanity. For instance, Zaiyin unexpectedly discovered a faint pink scar on the skin adjacent to the incision. Her hand froze midair. The assistants were taken aback. This was an unprecedented occurrence, especially given the patient's flesh had already been incised. Dr. Su was momentarily distracted. Only I understood the reason behind it. That scar was one she knew all too well. Countless nights of tender affection had seen her caress and kiss it. Aloe, this is your scar, yet it bears my lifelong imprint. It was a remnant of the blade I had taken on her behalf. During her residency, I would bring her meals. In a moment of surgical failure, a deranged patient wielding a fruit knife had flailed about. At that time, she was merely a fledgling doctor, untouched by such events. Just as she assisted another innocent patient who had collapsed, the knife had veered toward her abdomen. Be careful. I pushed her aside, and in the ensuing chaos, that blade pierced my lower abdomen. Zaiyin immediately pressed her hand against my wound. Blood flowed through her fingers, staining her hands crimson. Her face turned as pale as a sheet, and she supported me as we rushed toward the emergency room. It was only after my injury was treated that a glimmer returned to her hollow gaze. With reddened eyes, she looked at me and buried her head in the crook of my neck. Aloe, seeing you bleed pains me. I would rather were I who died. I smiled and patted her gently. Then should you treat me a bit better from now on? She planted a kiss on my earlobe. I would give my life for you. That day, she lay in my embrace, carefully avoiding my wound, and solemnly declared, Aloe, you are far too kind. Will you think more about yourself in the future? The person who once urged me to consider my own well-being was her. Now, she is the one who perceives Zhao Peiyin as simple and encourages me to be magnanimous. The assistant quietly reminded, Dr. Su, is something amiss? Su Zaiyin, however, paid no heed and quickened her pace. Suddenly, she yanked away the surgical drape covering my face. My pupils constricted in an instant. A look of terror and despair crossed my face. How can it be you? Yet at that moment, I was unable to respond. I had been administered anesthesia and was drifting into unconsciousness, my eyes closing heavily. My complexion was pallid, and cold sweat beaded on my forehead. We were at the final stage of the dissection procedure. It was indeed painful, but soon it would be over. Su Zhaijin's Adam's apple bobbed several times, her voice trembling uncontrollably. Aluo, you cannot come to harm. I will not allow anything to happen to you. She longed to reach out to me, but refrained for fear of bacterial infection. The assistants were somewhat taken aback. Did Dr. Su not realize that the one under the scalpel was her own husband? Yet, their professionalism quickly restored their composure, refocusing their attention on the surgical table. The system in my mind coldly remarked, this is likely the most harrowing surgery Su Zhaijin has ever undertaken. After all, the success rate of this operation was a mere 5. Anyone in her position would feel apprehensive, wouldn't they? When she picked up the scalpel again, her fingers trembled slightly. But soon, with remarkable resolve, she stifled the tremor. Her years of professional training kicked in. The surgery continued in a methodical manner. Administer more anesthesia. There are signs of tumor metastasis, with parts free and symptoms of significant bleeding. Use interventional embolization to occlude the blood vessel. Continue with adhesion dissection and excise the affected area. Su Zhaijin truly lived up to her reputation as the hospital's most renowned and youngest surgical prodigy. Everything unfolded as she anticipated. She managed to maintain control. An assistant's voice, tinged with excitement, broke through, it is successful. They whispered in celebration. Yet, I was not surprised in the least. The operation was undoubtedly successful for the time being, as my limit for survival had yet to be reached. Only 2 hours remained. Post-surgery, according to protocol, I needed to remain in the observation room for an hour to ensure all my vital signs were stable. Su Zhaijin regained her calm demeanor. The entire space was now occupied solely by the two of us. Aside from that brief conversation during the car accident at the outpatient clinic, we had not spent over an hour together in a long time. She whispered in my ear, I never expected that these hands would one day perform surgery on a Luo. The anesthesia wore off quickly, a function of the system settings. I opened my eyes and teased her. I also did not foresee that those hands would one day peel crayfish for others. In this world, we are both orphans, each earning our tuition through hard work. I recall our early graduation days when we were so impoverished that we could not afford a washing machine. The winters in the South were bitterly cold and damp. Each time I washed clothes, my fingers turned crimson from the cold, and I could not bear to let her plunge her hands into the icy water. You are not needed here. Your hands are meant to wield a scalpel, saving more lives and families. Aluo, do you have a filter for doctors? Yes. In my previous world, it was a doctor who salvaged my life. Well, I shall not disappoint your affection, Aluo. The sound of the pin dropping could be heard in the room. Su Zhaojin seemed momentarily taken aback by my words, taking a while to let out a soft sigh. Aluo, Zaiyin is on the brink of death. Could you perhaps refrain from holding a grudge against him? I chuckled lightly. I am also nearing death. Why should I spare him? Su Zhaojin's eyes dimmed in an instant. You won't die. Do you doubt my skills? Perhaps realizing that I, too, am a patient now, her voice softened. What did you fall ill? You mentioned divorce. You didn't believe I would vanish that day. She was momentarily at a loss for words and had to change the subject. I know you dislike scars. I will ensure your incision is beautifully sutured, and the scarring will be minimal. I remained unresponsive. The silence in the air grew palpable, rendering her somewhat uneasy. She seemed eager to say more. Just then, a nurse entered. Dr. Su, your phone has been ringing incessantly. Aluo, I must take this call. After a while, when Su Zhaojin returned, her demeanor appeared somewhat discomposed. Aluo, I have an urgent matter to attend to. I will have a nurse look after you. I was fully aware of her intentions. Her original plan was to divorce me this morning and host a lawn wedding with Zhao Peiyin in the afternoon. Su Zhaojin, truly a master of time management, was quite busy. Su Zhaojin, I have less than 2 hours left in this world. Are you certain you do not wish to say any final words? In truth, I had no desire to linger with her any longer. If she chose to stay, I might attribute it as a final gesture of sincerity regarding our years of relationship and marriage. I would reciprocate appropriately, easing her guilt just a fraction. Yet, she opted not to. Su Zhaojin rose to her feet. Even after 3 hours of intense surgery, she remained spirited and poised. The uncontrolled emotions she exhibited upon discovering that I was the patient had all but vanished. Aluo, once you recover, I will personally refer you to the psychology department. That calm, unyielding tone was truly unappealing to me. I scoffed lightly. Dr. Su, I hope you will not regret this. Su Zhaojin's expression remained indifferent as I threw a tantrum. She cast a sidelong glance at me, her lips curving into a soft smile. I won't. Aluo, what you need now is to rest well. With that, she vanished through the doorway, her phone having urged her several times. By now, her wedding venue was likely filled with esteemed guests. Zhao Peiyin must be growing impatient. I felt a sense of relief. Su Zhaojin, this is your own choice. After Su Zhaojin's departure, the system in my mind sighed. Alas, she has missed her final opportunity. I was astonished that the system could exhibit a sense of regret. Host, you are a kind-hearted girl. I privately sought to grant you a chance, hoping you would thrive in this world. If she chooses you today, the success of the surgery will become a reality. I chuckled. Have you forgotten, system? Even if she stays today, I cannot survive. Because Zhao Peiyin has already caused my demise. The system was silent for a moment. Yes, I am aware. Do you wish to know why Zhao Peiyin was speeding that day? Because he was in a hurry to pick up Su Zaiyin at the airport. Indeed, that day marked Su Zaijin's return from a business trip. His urgency stemmed from the fact that Su Zaiyin was pressed for time to finalize our divorce. Such is the intricate web of fate. I sighed softly. Even if I had not been in the accident, and the surgery was a resounding success, I would no longer desire her. You no longer love her? The system, having witnessed our decade together, inquired. Indeed. Why? It pressed further. Are you not the system? How could you be unaware? Ahem. The system is not infallible. It occasionally overlooks certain matters. I smiled wryly. Zhao Peiyin's family does not have a dog. This was something Su Zaiyin had once told me. Her teacher and junior were both allergic to animal fur. How could those allergic to animal fur keep a dog? The system was momentarily taken aback. So that night, it was impossible for them to bathe the dog. The message on the phone, I've taken off my clothes. Hurry here, was already quite revealing. She had strayed both in body and spirit, all the while deceitfully maintaining her composure. System, she has sullied herself. I cannot accept her anymore. The system rarely cursed, but this time it exclaimed, damn, that heartless woman. Let her feel the guilt. Emergency. The patient is experiencing severe hemorrhaging and tissue infection. Doctor, Su's surgery has resulted in significant complications. Cardiac arrest. Initiate artificial heart-lung support. Prepare. How could the patient's heart, liver, spleen, and lungs rupture? In truth, I had already detached, my soul hovering above, witnessing my life gradually fade away. Why can't I reach Dr. Su by phone? One call got through, but it was disconnected. I asked the system, do you know who hung up? Oh, this is intriguing. It was Zhao Peiyin. The system appeared to relish the unfolding drama. Come, host. This system will take you to the wedding. The system is becoming increasingly endearing. Before departing, I cast one last glance at my own form on the operating table. The wounds from the accident had fully manifested. How severe it truly was. My entire body lay shattered, my arm and left leg contorted in an unnatural manner, likely broken. Such a pity. At least I had pushed that little girl away. She was so delightful and innocent. Thankfully, she was unharmed. Attending another's wedding was surprisingly intriguing. Mountains of flowers adorned the venue, and colorful balloons floated gracefully. It was a portrait of happiness, albeit one they had stolen. System, that red wine on the long table looks quite delectable. Host, you appear to be somewhat pleased. Shall I remind you that this is your wife's wedding? I wrinkled my nose and said, of course, I'm happy because I can return home soon. As for Su Zaiyin, she no longer has the power to influence my emotions. When I first discovered her estrangement, I felt despondent, resentful, and even succumbed to self-doubt. I spent countless nights tossing and turning, my mind replaying images of her intertwined with him, laughing and kissing, even embracing on the bed. The world I once cherished crumbled before my eyes. Eventually, I realized that such behavior was foolish. I should not punish my benevolent self for the actions of a capricious woman. What I needed to do was strive to seek opportunities that would allow me to bask in the sunlight. Host, look, a heartbreaker, I heard. Zaiyin appeared across the lawn in a white wedding gown, graceful and charming. The groom, too, was handsome, exuding an air of elegance. There was not a hint of the panic that he had caused 3 days prior when he took a life. I slowly drifted towards Zaiyin and heard her softly inquire of Zhao Peiyin. Where's my phone? Zhao Peiyin's gaze flickered momentarily. It's in the dressing room. I've kept it for you. The exquisitely tailored wedding gown could hardly accommodate a phone. Is there a call for me? I think there might be one. Zhao Peiyin hesitated. Do you want to retrieve it? But the wedding is about to begin. Zaiyin paused briefly. No need. Her eyes remained calmly fixed ahead. I wondered if she remembered our own wedding, when we could only afford silver rings, yet were undeniably happy. Allo, do you regret marrying this impoverished soul? Never, doctor. Su is a rising star. Indeed, she later gifted me a magnificent diamond ring, yet it failed to evoke the same joy I once felt. Allo, the junior is gravely ill. May I fulfill one of his wishes? He is only 26. It's so tragic. Jean, you must go. Allo, his wish is to marry me. I froze instantly. Zaiyin, that wish is unreasonable. But he is dying. Even if he is dying, one cannot usurp another spouse or their love. Jean, that wish is an immoral one. She stood on the balcony for a long time that day and finally coldly remarked, Allo, you have changed. You're not as kind as you used to be. What she left me with was a profound silence. Zaiyin, have you forgotten that I dread solitude? I sat in the empty living room, turning on each light one by one, yet still felt something amiss. Ultimately, I buried my face in my arms, curling into a ball. It was not I who had changed. It was you, Zaiyin. While she spent time with Zhao Peiyin, I called her. My stomach hurts. Zaiyin, my stomach hurts. That day, she was with Zhao Peiyin at the pinnacle of the Ferris wheel. It was rumored that kissing there symbolized love and eternity. In truth, I had no stomach ailment. I stood beneath the Ferris wheel, watching them affectionately seated together. My heart ached. Zaiyin is acutely aware of my condition. Her tone on the phone is rather indifferent and cold. Aluo, I am a surgeon, not a gastroenterologist. In that moment, I felt as if I were on the brink of death. When the other party cannot tolerate your occasional whims, it is highly likely that love has faded. The distinction between love and indifference has always been stark. System, are we nearing the ring exchange segment? That diamond ring sparkles beautifully. It must have cost a pretty penny, right? The system seemed to be amused by my irritation. Host, shouldn't you be concerned about when the police will arrive? What's the rush? Let them bask in their happiness, while longer. In this way, when the truth finally emerges, the pain will be even more profound. Zhao Peiyin smirked at Zaiyin. Senior, I have actually liked you for a long time. Today, this wish is finally coming true. Zaiyin's expression appeared somewhat unnatural. Her gaze fell, lost in thought. Perhaps she was reminiscing about our wedding day, when she too had uttered similar words to me. Aluo, marrying you, this wish is finally fulfilled. Ironically, today she abandoned me in the hospital to fulfill someone else's wish. She might have recently removed our wedding ring, as there lingered faint imprints on her ring finger. But I no longer possess my once treasured male ring. On the day she agreed to marry Zhao Peiyin, I cast it into the trash, discarding it forever. At this moment, Zaiyin delicately grasped the diamond ring, preparing to place it on Zhao Peiyin's finger. Suddenly, several uniformed police officers burst in. The system's voice was laced with excitement. Oh, the show is about to begin. What's the matter? Do you need some sunflower seeds? Ahem. Host, you seem to have forgotten that I'm currently on duty. I nearly chuckled at the system's quip. Zhao Peiyin, a citizen has reported you for hit and run. Zhao Peiyin's lips trembled, resembling a drowning person, as he clutched Zaiyin's hand tightly. I didn't. The police, accustomed to defiant individuals, stated matter-of-factly. Surveillance footage shows that on the 11th of this month, at 2:10 p.m., your vehicle, license plate number, crashed into a pedestrian on Wanghai Road due to speeding and then fled the scene. The victim was a young male. At this point, I noticed Zaiyin's fingers twitch slightly. She, being so astute, should be able to deduce that on that day, and at that time, Zhao Peiyin was supposed to pick her up. Zaiyin's complexion darkened as she withdrew her arm, stepping back a couple of paces. She glared fiercely at Zhao Peiyin. Did you change cars to pick me up that day because your original vehicle had it someone? Zhao Peiyin trembled uncontrollably. She couldn't restrain her fury and violently pulled at his collar. Did you hit a Luo? Zhao Peiyin stammered incoherently. Senior, let go. I don't know. It's impossible. There are no cameras there. The police calmly informed him. There are cameras. They were just installed the day before. Zhao Peiyin swayed forward slightly. Additionally, I must inform you that you are suspected of purchasing forged medical records and will need to cooperate with the investigation. In an instant, Zhao Peiyin's face turned ashen, devoid of even the strength to offer a feeble defense. Ultimately, he crumpled like a rag doll, escorted away by the police. Awaiting him was the retribution of the law. The crowd of guests began to murmur in discontent. What a disgrace. Arrested on the very day of his wedding. He appeared so honest and simple. Yet he fled after causing a fatal accident? How ruthless. Was he not ill at all? Did he forge a false medical record to deceive our tears? He has lost all moral integrity. Isn't the bride a highly esteemed doctor? How could she not have noticed? Zaiyin could not have failed to hear these remarks. At that moment, she felt as though she had been struck sharply across the face. Host, did Zaiyin truly not realize? I chuckled softly. Perhaps she simply did not wish to acknowledge the truth. She aspired to be a dragon-slaying heroine saving her prince, yet she found herself to be the malevolent dragon instead. The system indignantly exclaimed, Bah, what a new breed of scoundrel. Zaiyin seized her phone from the dressing room, but alas, it was devoid of power, the screen black. She swiftly turned and dashed towards the parking lot, her urgency causing her to stumble. She pressed the accelerator towards the hospital. Host, it seems she has run several red lights. Well, let her await the revocation of her driving license, I replied. She bit her lip, barely pausing to change out of her wedding attire, as she raced towards the ward. Where's a Luo? Where is Liang Luo? The nurses were taken aback by her frantic demeanor. Dr. Su, there is no Liang Luo here. How can that be? Have you performed your duties adequately? Fortunately, her assistant managed to intercept her in time. Hesitantly, he spoke, Sister Su, there truly is no Liang Luo here. Typically composed at work. Zaiyin was now losing her rationality and poise. This is absurd. Where could he have gone? Liang Luo is in the morgue. Zaiyin swayed unsteadily, grasping her assistant's collar. That cannot be. He was perfectly fine just moments ago. The surgery was a success. What are you babbling about? On the path to the morgue. With each word from her assistant, Zaiyin complexion paled further. His internal organs appear to have been shattered by impact. It seems he was involved in a severe car accident. She muttered to herself, impossible. The surgery was undeniably successful. Her assistant was compelled to reveal the harsh reality. Sister Su, the sutures you performed have all ruptured. His intestines are protruding. Zaiyin's legs felt as though they were encased in lead, nearly immobilizing her. Moreover, the tumor has metastasized, invading surrounding tissues. It struck her like a heavy blow, this statement signifying the failure of her surgery. The golden hand had utterly failed. She had performed countless surgeries, yet the only one to falter was that of her own husband's tumor. This was a devastating blow to her confidence. Zaiyin's throat tightened as she swallowed hard. What did he pass? He left this world an hour after you departed the hospital. What had you been doing at that time? Attending her wedding. Her wedding to Zhao Peiyin. Amidst the resplendent blooms and vibrant balloons, a moment of joy unfolds. Her husband, however, descends into the final phase of existence. Zaiyin hesitates several times to unveil the white cloth draped over me, her hands trembling as if afflicted by Parkinson's disease. Please unveil it, I implore. Once revealed, the process will conclude, allowing me to return home and savor the congee prepared by my father. Finally, Zaiyin closes her eyes and pulls the cloth away. I too behold my own lifeless body. Tsk. My face remains somewhat presentable, yet my body lies shattered. A sight too grim to endure, I muse. The system beside me sighs in resignation. Zaiyin initially gazes upon my remains with a tranquil demeanor before tenderly caressing my face. Ultimately, she lifts my hand to her lips. Aluo, awaken. Let's return home. We shall not divorce. We will never part ways again, will we? Silence envelopes the room, no reply gracing her ears. The assistant stands helplessly at the side, uncertain of how to proceed. Zaiyin clings to my body, her mental state spiraling into madness. Liang Luo, for heaven's sake, respond. Please awaken. Let us return home. I beseech you. Aluo, I truly implore you. Tears cascade down, dripping onto my neck. I find this unbearable. System, will her actions soil my body? Host, it is nearly over. Endure a little longer. How much longer? At midnight. You shall return to your original world. Very well. I must bear this for a few more hours. My remains cannot be taken home. Su Zaiyin is persuaded by the hospital authorities to return home. For a surgical virtuoso, losing composure in the morgue is indeed an unseemly sight. You must attend to his final arrangements, after all. Su Zaiyin kisses my forehead repeatedly, prompting me to frown in disapproval. Even the system can't help but mutter under its breath, foolish woman, under the persistent urging of her colleagues. Su Zaiyin vacantly exits the morgue. She calmly inquires of her assistant, "Did Aluo say anything before departing?" "He did." Su Zhaojin's eyes momentarily sparkle with hope. "He said, 'Wishing you a joyous marriage. May we never meet again.'" "Ah, Sister Su? Sister Su, what is the matter?" Su Zhaojin collapses heavily to the ground, her knees striking the floor with a resounding thud. She seems to forget the pain, swiftly rising again, limping towards the exit. "I must return home. Aluo mentioned he had a stomachache." She uses the key to unlock our former abode. Darkness envelopes the space, save for the twinkling lights of countless homes outside. She appears oblivious to the location of the living room light switch, as the lights are typically aglow when she arrives home. I would await her on the sofa. "Aluo," she calls out, yet silence answers her. A sudden clatter reverberates through the room. Su Zhaojin rushes towards the bedroom. Moments later, she seems drained of all strength. Of course, no one occupies the bedroom, only the sound of a picture frame crashing to the floor. Under the glaring fluorescent light, she stands frozen for a considerable time. The entire house is desolate, resembling an uninhabited model room. "Host, you have done splendidly. I shall leave her no chance to reminisce. Indeed, I have discarded or donated everything that belonged to me. In the frame, only her half of the photograph remains. Even the wedding photo is incomplete, her half of the face left in tatters upon the floor. In the end, she's slumped against the wall, helpless, with her hands clasped over her head, she curled up, much like when I first discovered her infidelity, in disbelief, yet unwilling to accept the reality. 10 years, certainly not a mere 10 days. Initially, she wept softly. Then, her sobs escalated into heart-wrenching cries. "Aluo, I was wrong. I truly was. Will you come back, please? I beg you to return." Perhaps she has forgotten that she once said, "Is it fitting for a strong woman like me to cry?" Yet now, she is anything but fitting. A flash of white light appeared. "Host, farewell. I knew it was time to return home. Host, will you forget me?" "Never, dear System, you are too endearing." "Thank you, System, for accompanying me on this extraordinary journey. Goodbye, goodbye. I'm going home." Epilogue 1. Su Zaiyin had not stood on the operating table for quite some time. She experienced a stress response. The moment she ascended to the operating table, it was as if she saw Aluo lying there. Instinctively, she wished to flee. "Dr. Su, are we truly proceeding with this surgery today?" "Yes," Su Zaiyin nodded to her assistant. "Aluo liked me as a doctor. How could I be a doctor if I did not perform surgery?" With a hint of self-mockery, she donned the surgical gown. "Administer the anesthesia. Make a 15-centimeter incision." Initially, everything seemed to progress smoothly, until, suddenly, the patient's blood began to pour forth profusely. Su Zaiyin started to struggle to breathe. Cold sweat trickled down her temples. Memories flooded her mind. Aluo lying on the operating table, Aluo in a morgue. Blood. So much blood, the blood during surgery. The blood from years ago when Aluo shielded her from a blade. "Zaiyin, will you treat me better in the future? Of course, I would give you my life." The scene shifted to Aluo imploring her with resignation. "Zaiyin, after the divorce, I will vanish." "Liang Luo, must you always threaten me with disappearance?" "Liang Luo, perhaps you should consult a psychologist." "Liang Luo, I will arrange for you to see a psychologist." "Su Zaiyin, you're the one who is unwell." Indeed, she was truly ill. They had painstakingly forged a home, a warm little abode where a small light awaited her return each day, a sanctuary for her long, lonely soul. How could she not have cherished it properly? Perhaps the comfort of life had dulled her senses over time. The pressures of daily surgeries, the burdens of fame. She required an outlet. At that moment, Zhao Peiyin fortuitously intruded. He idolized her, clung to her, and could not be easily dismissed. He represents a vibrant individual, entirely distinct from Aluo. Countless times, while sitting alone in the car, she contemplated surrendering just once. Surrendering once would allow her to return to Aluo's side. As a doctor, how could she fail to perceive Zhao Peiyin's physical condition? She trusted the reports she received. In life, it is rare to be muddled. She pursued a divorce from Aluo, believing that only by severing this bond could the terrifying moral compass deep within her diminish. She simply could not accept being equated with infidelity in Aluo's eyes. Her actions felt akin to robbing Peter to pay Paul, as if each step she took was balanced precariously on a tightrope, ultimately leading to a fall into the abyss, shattering her to pieces. That home, Aluo's home, was one she could never return to. Dr. Sue, what is wrong? Dr. Sue, the patient is experiencing significant hemorrhaging. It has spread. This is grave, encroaching upon surrounding tissues. Later, colleagues at the hospital whispered among themselves during breaks, perhaps as a cautionary tale. That surgery was an utter failure. The lead surgeon fled mid-operation, causing irreversible harm to the patient. The lead surgeon was sentenced to 3 years in prison. After Aluo's departure, Su Zaiyin was no longer the golden hand she once was. She could scarcely practice medicine anymore, having once been Aluo's favorite doctor. Upon Su Zaiyin's release from prison, it was the Qingming festival. I want that bouquet of lilies. My husband adored them. Aluo's grave was immaculate, as though frequently visited. The radiant smile captured in the photograph on the tombstone stirred her heart. Aluo was still so young. Yet these 3 years had aged Su Zaiyin as if 30 had passed. Just as she reached out to caress the photo, a voice emerged from behind, that of a 6 or 7-year-old girl. Don't touch, don't touch. You are not allowed to pay respects to my godfather. This was a little girl Aluo had once saved. Leave, leave. You married a new husband and caused my godfather's death. You are not welcome here. Su Zaiyin managed a bittersweet smile, realizing she had never anticipated Aluo's cruelty, even leaving her posthumous affairs to the girl's family. With a heavy heart, Su Zaiyin departed the cemetery, gazing up at the overcast sky, feeling as though it too might weep. It's raining. Run. With a thunderous roar, torrential rain poured down. She seemed to be transported back to that summer long ago when she was a graduate student and Aluo was an undergraduate. Senior, don't get drenched. I have an umbrella. Thus, Aluo gently invaded her long, lonely world. By the time they reached the dormitory, Aluo's shoulder was soaked while she remained dry, feeling a pang of guilt as he tended to her. His laughter illuminated his eyes. It's all right, Senior. I'm perfectly fine. He was so kind. How could she bear to scold him or demand he be more magnanimous? The guilt blossomed within her, sprouting like dense vines. With a sudden pft, Su Zaiyin collapsed in the rain, crimson blood mingling with the downpour. A blade once deflected by Aluo now returned to haunt her. This time, no one stood in front of her to shield her from the knife. She recognized the person who had stabbed her. It was the family member of a patient from the last surgery she had failed. She truly deserved this fate. She had fled the operating room midway, causing the death of someone's beloved family member. Those who betray sincere hearts seldom meet a good end, exemplified by her, Su Zaiyin. Aluo, will you come to take me away? She asked. Aside from the sound of rain, no one answered her. After her death, she encountered the system. After much pleading, the system finally agreed to let her see Aluo. This is in consideration of your past as a doctor, having saved numerous patients. On a leisurely evening, Aluo dozed in a wicker chair at the door. His father called from inside. Aluo, what do you want for dinner tonight? Clay pot porridge and spiced small potatoes. It must include the small potatoes. I know, your favorite. A wave of guilt surged within Su Zaiyin, for she did not like potatoes. It turned out Aluo had indulged her for 10 years. She could not reach him, yet she saw him joyfully rise from the chair and rush outside. Hey kid, you've stolen my lemons from the garden again. I'll make you sour, brother. I'll make lemon tea for you to drink. Would you like some? Yes. Su Zaiyin then realized that only one of Aluo's legs was healthy. The other was fitted with a prosthetic. Brother, how can you run so fast with just one leg? Because I am an alien with a super leg. He was so optimistic, just like the Aluo she once knew. No wonder he loved to run and engage in sports. It was because of his physical limitations. Yet, he remained so cheerful and blissful, enveloped in love, cherished by many, and loving many in return. His father, friends, the little girl he saved, and even the cold, indifferent system. He loved them all, but he no longer loved her. He had cast her aside. Su Zaiyin suddenly felt a deep sorrow, realizing that even in death, she was profoundly alone. The news from her world was broadcasting. Once a golden-handed doctor, Su Zaiyin had died outside her late husband's tomb, with no one to claim her body. The end. Thank you for listening, and if you enjoyed this, feel free to subscribe.